Thanks so much for your testimony, and I'll begin the questioning. Let me say at the outset, General Baker and General Leonard, and to all the members of the panel, this is some of the most powerful testimony I've heard. And the credibility that General Baker and retired General Leonard bring to this issue really makes it even more powerful and forceful. Both of you have enjoyed responsibilities commanding our men and women in uniform and also accepting assignments. As you mentioned, General Leonard, 96 hours to set up something like a Guantanamo detention facility is an incredible assignment. But in reading your testimony, particularly General Baker, it's very clear to me what's happened. You say at one point, the military commissions have been unable to bring the men charged with the worst criminal act in United States history to trial 20 years after the fact and 14 years after they were first charged. This alone is enough to prove that the system has failed. It seems to me that we put these prisoners, these detainees, in a black hole on an island which we could claim was not part of the territory of the United States, and decided that we would treat them in some kind of unusual legal manner with these military commissions. As the testimony has made clear, that experiment failed, and you said as much, General Baker, in your opening statement. So General Leonard has suggested there will come a point where the best we can hope for to finally put an end to this chapter is some sort of plea negotiation in terms of the outcome and where these prisoners are held, if they're held from this point forward. General Baker, would you like to comment on that suggestion?
Yes, sir. I would agree that the plea negotiation resolution is the only way out. I became the Chief Defense Counsel in 2015. We're further from trial today than we were when I started. So this legal quagmire, I don't see a way out. The status quo is not working.
I'd like to ask you and General Leonard to respond to Mr. Jaffer. Is any type of resolution for these detainees being held going to give aid and comfort to the enemy and put America at risk?
I think that what's putting America at risk is the status quo, is continuing down this road.
General Leonard?
Senator Durbin, I agree with General Baker, and I'd also add the point, and with respect to our minority witnesses, who I thought did a remarkable job. I said I had held 13 separate commands in 37 years, and with command comes a remarkable power and authority. And one of the questions I would always ask myself is not can we do something, but should we do something? And I think in this particular case, we have a responsibility here today to ask ourselves how history is going to judge the United States in the long term. And in my view, it is time to close Guantanamo, sir.
Ms. Justin, it was an extraordinary thing when the 7 of the 8 jurors in your client's case created this handwritten letter, which we have a copy of. Can you explain the circumstances behind that?
Thank you, Senator. Yes, at Mr. Khan's sentencing hearing that occurred this year at the end of October, Mr. Khan, through agreement with the government, was given the opportunity to speak for about 2 hours about what happened to him while he was in CIA custody. He did so, and it described in a fair amount of detail what he was subjected to while in the black sites. At the end of the proceedings, the military panel of jurors was given the opportunity to not only render a decision on his sentencing, but to suggest clemency should they wish to do so. And they made that decision to do so and supplied that written clemency letter that you quoted from at the beginning of these proceedings at Mr. Khan's sentencing. It was remarkable to us, Senator, given their position in the military and given the fact that they had had an opportunity to hear everything at the sentencing hearing, including the entire stipulation of fact to which Mr. Khan pled guilty to and took responsibility for. So the clemency letter was delivered in the context of full information about the seriousness of his crimes, his contrition, his guilty plea, and then what happened to him in the CIA while he was in the black sites.
Thanks, Ms. Justin. I might say, Ms. Kelly, I'm going to remember for a long time as you recounted all of the survivors' families who passed away, waiting for a moment of resolution or some sort of explanation of what happened to their loved one. It is, I think, stark testimony as to why we finally have to bring this to a close. Thank you for your testimony today. Senator Grassley?